Hello Year 4, how are you? Welcome to today's English lesson. In today's lesson, you're going to be enhancing your comprehension skills. So you're really going to be getting a lot better at these skills today. And you will be able to do three things to show that you can be successful at this. You will be able to use scanning and skimming to find information and work out the gist of a text, so what it means. You will be able to highlight the key words in a question to work out what it's asking you. And you'll be able to use those keywords to retrieve information from a text and answer questions based on the text. Now, for a retrieval, I would like you to look at this picture on the screen. I would like you to take a moment and really think about what is happening in this picture. Where do you think this picture is, and why do you think it's happening? Pause the video now and have a go if you can think about those three questions, please. Okay, how did you do? Well, first of all, let's think about where this picture is. Well, we can see there's lots of trees in the background. This might suggest that it's a forest. It could also be a rainforest. Now, what's happening in this picture? Well, you can see some trees here, and you can see a digger here. What do you think the digger has done to the trees? The digger has cut the trees down, and this is called deforestation. So we've looked at this word before in last term's lessons, and we learnt that deforestation is the process where trees are being cut down. Now, why do you think people want to cut down trees? Well, the population is growing day by day. There's more and more people that come into Earth and they need places to stay. So there's lots and lots of reasons why deforestation may take place. And one of these reasons is because people want to build houses on the land to help people have accommodation and a place to live. Now, that's only one reason. There's lots and lots of reasons why deforestation may take place, and we are not going to learn about all of that today because that isn't our key focus. But I just wanted to introduce you to what deforestation looks like, and it looks like this picture here, where there was once some trees and now there are no more. What do you think might happen to the insects, the animals and the insects that might live on this land? Yeah, so they might not actually have a place to live anymore. They might become quite sensitive to this new environment and they might not be able to survive. Now, in today's lesson, the focus is all about comprehension skills. But when you do your independent task, this comprehension will be all about deforestation. So you will be reading a text about deforestation and you will be answering questions based on that text. This is because our next unit in English is going to be all about persuasive writing. You are going to be persuading someone else to either cut down the trees or not cut down the trees. And over the next few lessons and after half term, you're going to be learning a lot more about deforestation, and we're going to be reading some stories to show and really understand what that means. But for now, I just wanted to introduce you to it so that you have a bit of an understanding before you read our text later on. So, I am going to practice some comprehension questions with you, but I wanted to use a different text to the one that you'd be using in our session today. So I've chosen to read a text about earthquakes. Now this doesn't have anything to do with what we're learning about at the moment, and that's okay, because I'm going to show you the best ways today to answer these comprehension questions. So we're going to read the text together, and then we are going to practice how to answer some questions about it. So make sure your eyes are on the screen. You can either read it out loud yourself if you pause the video here, or I am going to read it to you now. Okay. Earthquakes. The Earth's crust. The Earth's crust and the top of the mantle have about 20 tectonic plates, which are like puzzle pieces covering the Earth. These plates are always moving and bumping into each other. We call the edges of the plates plate boundaries, which are made up of faults. These faults are where most of the world's earthquakes occur. As the plates move, the edges get stuck because they are not smooth, but the rest of the plate keeps moving. When the force is too much, it breaks free and that causes an earthquake. A seismograph. A seismograph, say seismograph, that's how you pronounce it, is a special piece of equipment that records earthquakes. Seismometers are securely fastened to the earth, so when the ground starts to shake, the instrument's case moves too. What doesn't move is a weight that hangs on a string inside the case. When there is an earthquake, the case shakes with the ground, but the weight does not, and it draws a line to show how much the ground shook. Scientists use seismograms, graphs produced by the seismograph, to measure how big each earthquake is. An interesting fact. Did you know that 6 Italian scientists were convicted of manslaughter? That means that they killed someone without actually physically doing it. And they were sent to prison because they did not predict the 2009 earthquake in which 309 people died. So just because they didn't predict it, they didn't say, oh, this is going to happen, they were sent to prison because all of these people died and they didn't tell anyone that there was danger. But they didn't actually physically kill these people, and that's why it's called manslaughter. And these Italian scientists appealed their cases. That means they said, oh no, we did not do this, we don't deserve to go to prison. And they were eventually not sent to prison. And you could try to find out how earthquakes are measured, how easy they are to predict, about other cases where prison sentences have been handed out in unusual circumstances, and how the appeal process works. So now I've read the text, I'm going to think about what I know about the text so far, what I've learned about earthquakes, and maybe you've learned something too. So I'm going to give you a moment to pause the video. Can you remember anything before we move on to our questions? Okay, let's have a look at one together. So my first question is, which layer of the earth do the tectonic plates make up, and how many are there? This question's quite tricky because there are 2 parts to this question. The first question is, which layer of the earth do the tectonic plates make up? And the second part is, how many are there? How many tectonic plates are there? Now we need to first think, well, which words in this question are keywords? Which words in this question are just added fluff that don't need to be there? So, which layer? Well, I know I'm looking for a layer, so that could be quite an important word. Of the aren't really important words to me, so I don't need to put them as my keywords. They just add some fluff. Of the earth, potentially that could be a keyword. Do the tectonic plates make up? And how many are there? Well, I can see that the word many is a really important word, because what does many tell me? That's right, it's going to be a number. So it's going to be an amount. So I know I'm looking for a layer, and I know it's going to be a layer of the earth, and I know it's going to be amount because of this word many. So I can highlight my keywords in my question. And this means that when I start to read the text now, I am looking for a layer, and I am looking for a amount or a number. And I'm going to start reading my first paragraph here because I know this is all about the earth and the earth's crust. So that might have some layers of the earth. And I can see, the earth's crust and the top of the mantle have about 20 tectonic plates. So the top of the mantle has tectonic plates. So that could be the layer of the earth that the tectonic plates make up. Maybe. And I can see here that I have actually seen the word tectonic plates, so I know my answer is going to be around that area. And I can see not only that they're at the top of the mantle, but also I can see an amount here, 20 tectonic plates. So I can see the tectonic plates make up the Earth's crust, and that there are about 20 tectonic plates. So there I have found that the Earth's crust is the layer of the earth that the tectonic plates make up, and the top of the mantle too. So I could also say the tectonic plates make up the Earth's crust and the top of the mantle. But I can see there are about 20 tectonic plates. So I've highlighted my keywords, I've found the area of the text which talks about tectonic plates, and then I've found my answer and I've written my answer here. Let's try another one together. What are plate boundaries? Well, my keywords here, what. I know I'm looking for a thing, an object maybe, or a reason, or something else. But also, is are a keyword? Does are tell me anything that I need to find? No, it doesn't, does it? That's just a bit of fluff. But another keywords are my plate boundaries. So I'm looking for the word plate boundaries, and I'm also looking for what they are. And I can start scanning my text, and as I'm reading, I found the words plate boundaries, and I can start reading it. So I know that these tectonic plates, they cover the earth. These plates are always moving and bumping into each other. We call the edges of the plates plate boundaries. Okay, so they could be, plate boundaries could be the edges of the plates that are covering the earth. And then I can start my sentence by saying plate boundaries are. And what are they? I've started my sentence by answering the question, plate boundaries are, and then I can use what I've found and I can think, plate boundaries are the edges of the earth tectonic plates, because they are the edges of the plates from the earth, so they are the edges of the earth's tectonic plates. Okay, now I would like you to have a go. It's your turn. Answer this question. What is a seismograph? Write the question down, highlight the keywords, find the answer in the text, and write your answer. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, how did you do? Did you find some keywords here? Your keywords could be what and seismograph. You are looking for what a seismograph is. You might then look to your text and see, this paragraph that I've just highlighted is all about a seismograph. And I can read and I can see a seismograph is a special piece of equipment that records earthquakes. Okay, and if I keep reading, I can see it actually draws a line to show how much the ground shook. So those are two things that tell me what a seismograph is. And I can start my sentence by saying, a seismograph is, and what did we find? It's a special piece of equipment that records earthquakes. But not only that, it also draws a line by showing how much the ground shook. And that tells me what a seismograph is. Now, last time, have one last go. How does a seismograph work? Pause the video and have a go. Okay, how did you get on? Did you highlight some keywords? We might say how and seismograph works. We can see that our seismograph paragraph is here, and I can see, seismographs are securely fastened to the earth. So when the ground starts to shake, the instrument's case moves too. So that might tell me how it works. But I also know that it also has a weight inside, but this does not move. So when there's an earthquake, the case shakes with the ground, but the weight does not. And I could start my sentence by writing, a seismograph or seismographs work by. How do they work then? Well, we don't need to change the wording. We can just see that they are securely fastened to the earth. So they work by being securely fastened to the earth. So when the ground starts to shake, the instrument's case moves too. And we haven't changed any of the wording here at all. But also we can say that there is actually a little weight inside that hangs on a string. So when there's an earthquake, the case shakes with the ground, but the weight does not. And finally, what does it do? It draws a line to show how much the ground shook, which we mentioned in our previous. Okay, so hopefully you have a clearer idea of how to answer some comprehension questions. Now your task is to have a go, read this text all about rainforest deforestation. Then answer the questions about rainforest deforestation. Remember to answer in full sentences and give as many reasons as you can. This last question here is asking you for your opinion. That is completely down to you. What could you do to try and help stop it? What do you think we can do? What has other people done? What have charities done? Okay, and that's your task for today. A final plenary, can you remember what's happening in this picture and why it's happening? Pause the video and have a think. Did you remember? Absolutely. This picture shows deforestation. The trees are cutting down, and we might say that one of these reasons is because they need to make room to build more houses for people to live, because the population is always growing. And don't worry, we are going to be learning all about deforestation in our geography topic next term. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in our next lesson. Goodbye, Year 4.